Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about implementation and evaluation of a public relations campaign. To cover the basics, implementation of a PR campaign is a step in which stuff gets done. Implementation has always been one of my favorite parts of the process because it's finally time to take all your research and planning and put it into action. Evaluation, on the other hand, is reviewing your implementation, taking a critical look at what you've done, and seeing how effective it was. Evaluation is so important to your campaign because it's going to show what you did and if you accomplished your goals. The best lens to look at implementation and evaluation of a public relations campaign is through the four-step process. The four-step process has been broken down into a few different acronyms, whether it's RACE, research and planning, action, communication, evaluation, or ROPE, research, objectives, programming, evaluation. However, for the sake of consistency with the exam, we are going to be using the RPIE, research, planning, implementation, evaluation. So what is RPIE? Let's unpack it. And to help us learn, I'm going to use an example throughout this video. As a member of the Belmont Bateman team last year, I had the opportunity to work with the U.S. Census Bureau to develop a PR campaign for them to help reach college students. For the sake of time, I'm going to put this campaign in the most basic way that I can, but it should give us some helpful insight and good examples for explaining these processes. So let's get started. R stands for research and analysis of the situation. This is where you identify your need and see exactly what needs to be done. In our case, we saw that college students are typically undercounted in the census. After conducting research at Belmont through surveys, we found that there are a few reasons students don't participate in the census. First, they don't understand why it's important, and second, they don't know how to. This became the focus of our campaign. The next step is P, planning. In this stage of your four-step process, you are doing all the brainstorming and prep work. So that way, when it's time to implement, everything is ready. For us, it looked like spending the rest of the fall semester planning events and prepping content to get the attention of our key publics. We looked back on our research and found that convocation events were going to be one of the best ways to reach students at Belmont. So, during planning, we scheduled guest speakers, set up WellCore events, and prepped social media posts to advertise the events. In the planning stage, we also took time to set reasonable goals for ourselves that we later revisited in the evaluation. Finally, it's time for step 3, implementation, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. Our study guide only describes the implementation process briefly, but here's what they touch on: executing the plan, communicating the organization's actions as part of the plan. You do this by sending messages through each communication channel and monitoring results of actions and messages while keeping track of the campaign milestones. So here's what it looked like for us. With the simplest example I can give, the WellCore events we held. We executed our plan, sharing information about the census, all while updating students on when our next WellCore event would be. During convocations, we measured the number of students present, and we always made sure to post on our socials how great of a turnout we had, communicating to our publics that we, 1, appreciated their attendance, and 2, there would be more opportunities to attend and get involved. The fourth and final step is evaluation.
Angela, your turn.
I actually look forward to performance reviews. I did the youth beauty pageant circuit, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I really enjoy being judged. I believe I hold up very well to even severe scrutiny.
Michael?
Yeah.
Jan's on the phone for you.
Oh, Angela, you were totally satisfactory this year.
Personally, I think evaluation is the most fun part of a campaign. You get to look back on what really worked and what didn't work, and you get to brag on yourself. And if you're like Angela and myself, you look forward to seeing what you did well and what you did poorly. There are multiple different ways to evaluate a public relations campaign. For example, you can look specifically at the reach of your campaign. You can measure impressions and views on your content. These can be measured by the number of people attending a WellCore event, the number of website hits you receive, or the number of views on an Instagram post or story. You can also focus your evaluation on what your publics learned rather than what they saw. Using focus groups, interviews, and surveys, you can compare before and after results of your campaign to see how much your audience learned. This is a great method of evaluation. For us, seeing Belmont students increase knowledge in how the census works meant so much more than seeing how many views an Instagram story received. One last way to evaluate your campaign is to see how your public took action. If you're leading a campaign to encourage people to vote, how many voters did you register? If you're trying to encourage recycling, how many more cans were turned in to be recycled? In our sense, it would have been seeing how many Belmont students actually completed the census and completed it correctly. Implementation and evaluation are two huge parts of a PR campaign. You wouldn't accomplish anything or know how much you accomplished without them. Thanks for tuning into this video on implementation and evaluation. I hope you're able to learn a thing or two about the methods of both.